Welcome to another episode on Mind Talk. Today we're digging into a big question, and why the key transport recommendations from the carrying capacity study for sustainable iron ore mining in Keonjhar, Sundargarh and Mayurbhanj are still gathering dust. It's been more than 7 years and still no large-scale switch to railways or pipelines. What happened?
It's quite a tangle, honestly. The study was crystal clear. Big miners, especially those with over 5 million tons per annum, had to switch almost entirely to rail or conveyor based systems. Yet, trucks still rule the roads.
Let's start with infrastructure. Railways were supposed to be the backbone, but even today, huge gaps remain. Around 64 kilometers in Joda, 95 kilometers in Koira region. That's massive.
Exactly. And building private railway sidings, it's like navigating a bureaucratic jungle. You've got to get rail transport clearance, prepare detailed project reports, wait for Commissioner of Railway Safety inspections, and the process can stretch way beyond the 120-day norm.
Not to mention the money. Registration alone costs 5 to 10 crore rupees. And if you're not an integrated steel plant, you're already on the Indian Railways low priority list. So even if you want to comply, good luck getting timely access.
And let's not forget the land. Acquiring land for sidings is a huge roadblock, especially with forest clearances, right-of-way issues, and mandatory social impact assessments. The paperwork could rival a Tolstoy novel.
Haha, true. But the infrastructure story is only half of it. The other big elephant, or should I say truck, in the room is the transport lobby. We're talking about 20,000, 30,000 truck owners just in Keonjhar.
Yep, and they're not happy about being sidelined. Truckers see rail and pipelines as threats to their livelihood. They've staged multiple protests. One in March 2024, a 24-hour bund directly opposed the railway line to Gandhamardan B mines.
Right, and they didn't just wave placards, they stopped work. Halting pipeline and rail projects, that's real power. Politicians can't ignore that, especially in election years.
There's an emotional layer too. Whole families, 3 to 4 lakh people, depend on this industry. Shifting to conveyor belts and pipelines is seen as snatching food off their tables.
What's ironic is that rail is cheaper around rupees 1.4 per ton kilometer versus more than 3 rupees by road for long distances, but it lacks last mile flexibility, and the truckers have mastered that game.
Now, on the corporate side, it's not just nonchalance. Some steel and mining giants are trying. They've planned slurry pipelines, but cross-state permissions, water sourcing, and clearances are proving nightmarish.
Water is a serious issue. For instance, that 300-kilometer Jajang-Paradip pipeline needs almost 90,000 cubic meters of water daily. In water-scarce regions, that's not sustainable.
And conveyor belts, ideal in theory, stumble in practice due to the hilly terrain. Building a straight belt over Odisha's topography is like drawing a straight line on a crumpled piece of paper.
Let's not forget the government's role. The study handed duties to multiple departments, steel and mines, Indian Railways, state forest. But the coordination? Meh. It's like trying to herd cats.
Then there's the money. The Barbil-Bansapani rail link alone needs around 400 crore rupees. The study suggested using District Mineral Foundation trust funds. But approvals and allocations? Still crawling.
And what about enforcement? The 5-year timeline lapsed, yet no penalties. Many companies are simply carrying on with their trucks.
It's a classic case of policy paralysis. Great intentions, technically sound plans, but ground realities? Messy, politicized, and economically sticky.
So where does that leave us? Is there any way forward?
Phased implementation could help. Gradually scaling rail infrastructure, providing support for truckers to transition into other logistics roles. Also, incentivizing early adopters among mining firms might create a domino effect.
And stronger penalties for non-compliance wouldn't hurt. You can't rely on goodwill alone when there's crores at stake.
Ultimately, it's about balancing livelihoods and environment. Without managing the social fallout, even the smartest transport plan is bound to stall.
That's it for today. But here's a question for our listeners. If you had to pick one, Environmental sustainability or job preservation? What would you prioritize and how would you balance the two?
Tough choices. Let's keep the conversation going. Catch you next time.